Ammonia gas leak, trapped gas released into the air. No need to increase retirement age to 65. Good afternoon, I'm Adrian Seed, you're watching News on 2. The Fire Rescue Department's Hazardous Materials Unit, or HAZMAT, has decided to release the ammonia gas trapped in gas piping in the chicken processing farm in Murli MA in stages last night. State Housing, Local Government, Environment and Green Technology Committee Chairman Dato' Teh Kok Kiew said the gas release began at 10 p.m. and took about 10 hours. Elaborating further, Dato' Teh said that HAZMAT had sprayed water in 5 locations in the farm to help release a trapped gas into the air, with gas readings indicating a drop from 500 parts per million or ppm to about 30 ppm within 45 minutes.
Kita keadaan ni cukup terkawal. Kita cuma nak buat sedikit, kita nak buat pelepasan gas ammonia secara berperingkat sedikit demi sedikit. So 5 nozzle telah digunakan untuk buat penyembuhan kabus untuk mendilutkan ammonia ini tersebut.
Dato' Teh also said that the department was also conducting gas readings every 2 hours in areas within a 3-kilometer radius of the factory, and if the readings in the areas indicate that the air was polluted, the release of the gas would be stopped. Until 11:30 p.m. yesterday, out of the 26 people initially treated at Hospital Malacca earlier in the day following the gas leak which occurred yesterday morning, 11 still remain warded. Dato' Teh urged the public not to panic as the situation was under control and reminded everyone to get their information from credible sources. The Road Transport Department, or RTD, has formed a task force to counter massive revenue leakages from motorists who underpay road tax charges for vehicles registered in 4 zones in the country. Now, the RTD said that the task force mission is to develop a mechanism to overcome the issue of owners of vehicle registered in Sabah, Sarawak, Labuan and Langkawi hoodwinking the authorities by paying lower road tax but utilizing their vehicles in the peninsula. Road tax in the said states and islands are much lower compared to the peninsula. According to the RTD yesterday, an internal audit by the Transport Ministry revealed that loss of revenue through such manipulation exceeded 50 million ringgit via transactions recorded between January and this month. The RTD also found that over 50% of road tax renewal transactions carried out in the 4 zones were for vehicles that were used outside the states and islands. The RTD said it viewed the matter seriously and efforts are being taken to put an end to such manipulation, ensuring that revenue collection benefited the country. Terengganu police arrested an unemployed man and seized 60,000 amphetamines worth 600,000 ringgit in a raid on a house in Kampong Padang Machang in Manir in Kuala Terengganu on Sunday. Terengganu Police Chief Dato' ID Ismail said police believe they have crippled a drug syndicate in Kuala Terengganu and Kuala Nerus following the arrest of the 34-year-old suspect. Dato' ID said from the investigation in a room with the suspect present, police found a sling bag containing 4 packets of red-green pills believed to be amphetamines. There was also a box containing 6 more packets of the same pill. Dato' ID further noted that the suspect had obtained the drugs from a friend on Aidil Adha for distribution, and police are investigating to identify the buyers and distributor of the drugs. He also said the suspect, who was found to be positive for methamphetamine and had 2 previous records of drug abuse, has been remanded for 7 days until the 8th of September. The case is being investigated under Section 39B of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952, which provides for the death sentence or life imprisonment or whipping of not fewer than 15 strokes of conviction. Police have nabbed 7 locals for their involvement in online scams in Bandar Puteri Klang in Selangor last week. Now, the arrests came following police's raid on a bungalow on the 29th of August. Selangor Commercial CID Chief ACP Fazli Sham Abdul Majid said the suspects, 4 men and 3 women aged 19 to 27, were believed to be part of a syndicate and that the online scam involved 600,000 ringgit losses. He said police also seized 14 mobile phones, 12 ATM cards, 11 SIM cards, 2 folders of documents believed to contain a victim's information, 2 pieces of paper with telephone scripts, 1 folder of mobile phone numbers and 2 vehicles. Further checks revealed that victims made a total of 95 police reports against the syndicate, which is believed to have been operated from various locations in Selangor over the past 6 months. Fazli Sham added that the suspects detained had been paid 1,500 ringgit each per month and promised commissions based on the amount of money successfully scammed from victims. He said the scammers would often post advertisements on social media and would wait for victims to call. In Selangor alone, 378 cases of personal loan scams were reported from January to June, involving over 4 million ringgit in losses for victims. Coming up next, Mata expects a departure levy to have no impact on sales. That story up next. Stay with us. Welcome back. Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said there is no need to increase the mandatory retirement age from 60 to 65. He agreed with Youth and Sports Minister Sadiq Said Abdul Rahman's view to retain the current retirement age so as not to block employment opportunities for the younger generation.
Kalau mereka bekerja mengisikan segala jawatan-jawatan tinggi, orang yang muda ni mungkin tak ada chance, tapi nak tetapkan pegawai bersara umur 65 yang Deadwood pun nanti duduk situ, duduk atas kursi itu, orang lain tak boleh duduk.
The Premier added there were nations that did not impose a mandatory retirement age and employees there could work for as long as they liked, but that only meant that they were denying opportunities for the younger generation. On Saturday, the Malaysian Trade Union Congress urged the government to increase the mandatory retirement age to 65 years, as practiced in several developed countries, including Singapore. This suggestion, however, was met with disapproval by Syed Saddiq, who was of the view that the government should focus on creating more job opportunities for the younger generation instead of blocking their potential. The Human Resource Ministry will introduce a star rating for workers' unions that show good governance and constantly improve service quality. Human Resource Minister M. Kulasegaran said the main goal of the star rating was to promote a healthy competition amongst workers' unions, especially in organizational management practices and service delivery. Kulasegaran said this recognition is expected to be an inspiration and an example for the workers' unions to be amongst the best. He said this at the opening of the Labour Enrichment and Professionalism Seminar in Putrajaya yesterday. The text of his speech was read by the ministry's Secretary General, Dato' Amir Omar. Kulasegaran said to improve the professionalism of workers' unions in Malaysia, the ministry, through the Trade Unions Affairs Department, would publish a code of practice for trade unions' effectiveness. In a statement, the ministry said the LEAP seminar was designed by applying elements of the National Occupational Skills Standard for participants to learn new skills, enhance their skills and diversify their skills to become competent in their field of work and to meet the needs of the global market. A series of 10 LEAP seminars have been planned in 10 locations, namely Putrajaya, Shah Alam, Ipoh, Alor, Melaka, Kuantan, Johor Bahru, Kuala Terengganu, Kuching and Kota Kinabalu. Energy, Science, Technology, Environment and Climate Change Minister Yeo Bee Yin said Malaysia needs investments totaling 33 billion ringgit in order to achieve its target of 20% electricity generation from renewable energy or RE sources by year 2025. She said the investments will be contributed by the government, public-private partnerships and private financing. Speaking to the media after officiating the inaugural 5-in-1 Power and Energy Asia Series exhibition in Kuala Lumpur today, Yeo said the government would continue all the current incentives such as the Green Technology Financing Scheme and the Green Investment Tax Allowance to incentivize the growth of RE. Meanwhile, she said the third round of large-scale solar or LSS3 bidding, which ended last month, saw the cost of generating per kilowatt hour or kWh from solar energy was lower than energy generation from natural gas sources.
we just finished our third round of LSS bidding. LSS bidding, large-scale solar bidding. Large-scale solar bidding right now, so the first 365 megawatt is a 500 megawatt bidding. So everyone maximum 100 megawatt. So the first 4 projects in terms of price, because now we're doing a technical evaluation, Energy Commission has ranked the price of the projects. The first 4 projects actually, which is amount to 365 megawatt out of 500 megawatt, bids at the price lower than the gas generation cost right now, which is 23.22 cents. So that means they are bidding lower. The lowest one is 17.77 cents per kilowatt hour.
She said the lower cost of solar generation was due to the advanced solar panel development technology that allowed the project to be bid at a cost of as low as 17.77 cents per kWh. Earlier in her speech, she said that LSS3 projects were in the offing for Malaysia in an effort to provide more affordable, reliable and sustainable electricity to the people. Now, the Malaysian Association of Tour and Travel Agents, or MATA, expects the recently imposed departure levy to have no impact on sales during its upcoming MATA Fair September of 2019. CEO Phua Tai Ning said the September edition, to be held from the 6th to the 8th of September, would likely attract 110,000 visitors and generate sales of between 210 million ringgit and 220 million ringgit.
Yeah, we have been saying to help. MATA has been saying to hope that the government will defer it until after BMY. But now that the government has decided, so I think, frankly, we feel that it will not have an impact.
He said this after announcing Malaysia Airlines as the official airline for the MATA Fair September 2019 in Kuala Lumpur yesterday. Meanwhile, Malaysia Airlines Berhad Group Chief Marketing and Customer Experience Officer Lau Yin Mei said MAS is offering great deals with 45% off for both business and economy seats to all destinations, with fares from as low as 79 ringgit one way for domestic routes and 139 ringgit one way for international travels. Customers, she said, will also have more options to choose from, as Firefly, a subsidiary of MAS, will also be offering discounts of up to 60% of its fares.
Great travel plans and travel deals exclusively for all our visitors at MATA Fair, while ensuring that we, being the national carrier, will be delivering what we call Malaysian hospitality.
Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Datuk Sri Dr. Mujahid Yusof, said the Department of Islamic Development Malaysia, or JAKIM, supports the initiative of the Johor Islamic Religious Department to use Jawi script in all their correspondence. The implementation of the initiative will commence on the 1st of January of next year, involving the department and the Johor State Religious Islamic Council, as well as be used in the Qadi office, religious schools and in speech texts to empower the use of Jawi script in the state. Datuk Sri Mujahid said in JAKIM, for every program, about 25% of the posters or materials related to the program were written in Jawi script.
Satu program iaitu mempromosi ataupun Minggu Jawi, di mana pada hari Jumaat kita minta semua orang pakai name tag Jawi, dan dalam program kami pun sekarang ni pun poster dan sebagainya 25% daripada itu mesti tulis Jawi.
The minister said this after opening the first international forum on Islamic thought, revitalizing Maqasid Sharia towards a compassionate governance in Putrajaya yesterday. On the forum, Datuk Sri Mujahid said the program will be an annual event to discuss the principles of Maqasid Sharia, especially in the Malaysian framework. The procedure for Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia, or SPM, school leavers to obtain a Foreign Support Certificate, or SSLN, or No Objection Certificate, or NOC, before pursuing a medical degree overseas may need to be reviewed. Health Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad, commenting on a report titled Jalan Pintas Bergelar Doktor, which claimed that some students did not apply for SSLN because they did not meet the minimum requirements, said the issuance of SSLN was under the purview purview of the Education Ministry. Now, according to the report, some Malaysian medical students in overseas universities are set to use the shortcut to go straight to university without the SSLN.
No objection, certificate itu perlu didapatkan, perlu didapati oleh atau didapati, perlu didapatkan. You must obtain that. Kalau you betul-betul mau belajar dengan pengesahan daripada KPM lah.
Speaking to the media after embracing style in breastfeeding #breastfeeding fashionistas event in Putrajaya yesterday, Dato Sri Dr. Zulkifli said no party could prevent anyone who did not qualify for the medical course at public and private universities in the country from studying medicine abroad at their own expense. The minister added that to register as graduate medical officers under the Health Ministry, a medical graduate must be registered with the Malaysian Medical Council. Writer and cultural arts researcher Professor Dr. Siti Zainon Ismail has been named the 14th National Laureate. Education Minister Dr. Murli MA said Professor Dr. Siti Zainon was chosen based on her contribution to the development of literature and impact on the spread of knowledge and leadership in the literary community at the national and international levels. Commenting further, Dr. Mazli said that the award will be presented by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riyatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah at Istana Hotel, Kuala Lumpur on the 21st of September. Professor Dr. Siti Zainon will receive Warka Penghormatan Negara, a cash prize of 60,000 ringgit and sponsorship of 500,000 ringgit to publish 50,000 copies of her works, which will be brought by the government for distribution to schools, libraries and government departments and agencies. She's also entitled to free medical service in a first-class ward in any government hospital and facilities to write and publish literary works, as well as translate suitable works into foreign languages. For the first time, the 14th National Laureate will also receive a living allowance worth 5,000 ringgit per month. Professor Dr. Siti Zainon has written 25 collections of poetry, 10 collections of short stories, 7 short story anthologies, 5 poetry anthologies, and 3 novels. She has also written 18 academic works, 21 essays on literary research, and 21 monographic essays, journals, documentations, and magazine catalogues. And that item concludes this afternoon's edition of News On 2. In our top story, ammonia gas leak, a trapped gas released into the air. Join us again at 7 this evening for more news updates. I'm Adrian Seed. Thanks for watching.